Hey Marvel fans, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host Name and this is The Nerdy Lair. And today we have a very crazy, very exciting, and very possible theory concerning the return of Savage Hulk in the MCU. So in this video, I'm going to be breaking down the reasons for why I think Savage Hulk is coming back, but also why I think the MCU needs Savage Hulk, and why Marvel would be stupid to squander this perfect opportunity that's sitting right in front of them. So starting off, I want to talk about the comic book explanations for why I think this theory is very, very possible, and then later, I will go over how I think exactly it will work in the MCU. But the first part of this theory revolves around Red Hulk, Betty Ross, and of course, Bruce Banner, and a specific era of comic books that was like post-World War Hulk, where they introduced Red Hulk, and that all eventually led into the fall of the Hulks, which was the culmination of this era of storytelling with the Hulks. And during this course of the stories, we see a very depowered human Bruce Banner for a lot of this. But we also see things like a Red She-Hulk. We see Red Hulk get like a group that had like Thundra a part of this group, as well as people like Punisher and Elektra and other really cool ground level heroes. But I think most importantly, the main villains of the story were, spoiler alert, the Intelligentsia. And the whole reason Red Hulk was even created was because of the Intelligentsia, and they were kind of the masterminds behind the whole thing. But also during this run, towards the end of it, we see in Fall of the Hulks, because remember, like Fall of the Hulks was like the last story of this whole thing, with the first one being like Jeff Loeb's run on the Incredible Hulk. But at the end of this, we saw Bruce Banner basically regain the ability of the Hulk, not only through siphoning some gamma radiation, but also after Scar, his son, stabs Red She-Hulk because he's trying to kill Hulk. And because, spoiler alert, she is Betty Ross, Hulk goes crazy and he basically reverts to World War Hulk. And we've also seen this from Hulk before, where he might be depowered, but in an instance that like triggers crazy amounts of rage and anger that can be a key to reverting back into Savage Hulk form pretty quickly. And all of these elements I think will be put into the MCU via Captain America New World Order. And of course the MCU isn't going to do this exactly, they never do, but when you have all of these elements that are being rumored for Captain America New World Order specifically, and there's even a comic book precedent for it to happen, I think it's very possible in Captain America New World Order we see a mishmash of all of these runs where they introduce Red Hulk and the Intelligentsia, and they incorporate elements from Jeff Loeb's run that introduced Red Hulk, but also you have elements from Greg Pak's Fall of the Hulks, where I think we will see a Betty Ross in this movie potentially die or receive some sort of crazy injury and be on the verge of dying. And I think that's when we will see, in my opinion, the return of Savage Hulk. And it will be beautiful, amazing, like it's crazy in the comics when he comes back, whenever he's depowered. But it will be like the MCU version. And I think we will also get like the MCU version of Hulk vs. Red Hulk that was in that Jeff Loeb run. Because also in that Jeff Loeb run itself, we see a depowered Hulk who's being kept in like stasis, because this is post World War Hulk and everybody's like scared that that's going to be like a thing again and he's going to come back and rampage New York again. And in the MCU itself, we have a depowered Hulk. Like Smart Hulk isn't as strong or as savage as normal Hulk. Clearly, obviously, that was the whole point. And it's just making perfect sense to me. And in my opinion, it's just like the perfect opportunity for Marvel to bring back Savage Hulk. But this also could potentially lead us to the MCU version of World War Hulk or World Breaker Hulk, but just in a backwards fashion. And to me, Betty Ross is the key, because that's the one thing Bruce Banner does not play about, and I could see reverting him into like a Savage Hulk or World War Hulk form. And all of that to me not only makes perfect sense, but also coincidentally lines up perfectly with some of the rumors we've been hearing with like Thundra, Red Hulk, multiple colored Hulks. But since the MCU always does things differently, like I always say, that's why I think they're going to mash up all of these different comic book runs that came from like the same era of comics. And they will also change a few things in general, like how they will probably use Jennifer Walters' blood to make Hulked heroes. And it was even rumored that we will get a version of hulked out heroes, like when Thor and like Captain America and all of them became Hulks. And this also takes place during this era of comics, during I think Fall of the Hulk specifically. So to me, all signs point to the fact that Marvel is clearly going to be heavily adapting from these stories. And I think the perfect thing the MCU could do is to bring back Savage Hulk and just give us an amazing fight between Hulk and Red Hulk. And really, there are no excuses for them not to. Like, everything is there. You have the comic book precedent, you have the perfect project to place it into, and you have all of the pieces to do it in your own MCU way. So now the ball is really just in Marvel's court, And I'm excited to check and see what the man Kevin Feige has cooking for us no matter what. I think this movie is going to be great no matter what. But if we don't get no Savage Hulk, I might just have to revoke his nerd card indefinitely. There's been too many cool comic book things that he's just not done and whiffed on. But with all that said, if you agree or disagree, leave opinions down below. If you enjoyed this theory, leave a like, comment, or share. Peace out.